Hi folks, I'd like to talk to you today about the Valkyrie Synthesizer. It's launching today here at MESSE. So here it is. I see there's a lot of lively talk about it on the internet. So I'd like to just give you a few details, so we all know what it's capable of, what it's doing, what sort of price we can expect it to be at. The key features of Valkyrie.
And what kind of oscillators we have here?
Okay, so Valkyrie has 10 oscillators per voice. They're grouped into two groups here. You can see the two sections. So you've got the basic VA wave shapes, like all the ones you'd expect, like sawtooth, saw, noise, pulse width modulation. It's got two very large wavetables, so one in each group. Each group has an independent wavetable. So there's a lot of shapes here. So there are all sorts of synthetic sounds here, or there's all sorts of pianos, guitars, so synthetic sounds, electronic sounds, but as well as sounds that are really good for making orchestral, classical instruments as well. It's not like a rompler where it's sampled sounds, but you still build these out of these wave shapes. But because you have the ability for FM, you have the ability for ring modulation and hard sync between these two oscillator groups, there's enormous potential for using these very large wavetables for all sorts of interesting sounds.
My community said, or on YouTube, it sounds like a bit like an old Waldo synth. Can you explain this? Is this based off your wavetables, or?
I'm not familiar with that synthesizer personally. I guess you could draw parallels with all sorts of synthesizers. In terms of the feature set, there's nothing radical here. It just takes it to the next level in terms of the sound quality, the number of voices, the number of effects, the number of oscillators, the size of the wavetables. So there's nothing spectacularly new in terms of synthesis technology here. It's just a good implementation, a new implementation.
How many wavetables do you put now in the Valkyrie inside?
There's 4,096 different shapes here. They're organised into about 72 different groups, like the pianos and all sorts of synthetic sounds here. And there's one, you can assign two of these, so one in each of the wavetable groups, and you can do all sorts of modulation. Now I saw on one of the forums someone asking, can the LFO do audio rate modulation? Well, no, it can't, but it doesn't need to, because you've got these two oscillator groups here with such large wavetables. If you need any audio rate modulation, you would do it right here in the oscillator groups.
And you have, besides wavetable, also virtual analog? Or?
Yeah, so you've got all the classic shapes. You've got a sawtooth, you've got a PWM here, so you can adjust the pulse width of it. You can have all these, there's noise, and there's a ring modulation output, which is the product, the ring modulation of the two wavetables. You can bring that into the mix as well. All of these can be used simultaneously. They're all part of the mod mat as well, the modulation matrix. So these can all be used in parallel. You can have them as static settings here. You can assign them to envelope generators via the modulation matrix. So again, enormous potential here for mixing and matching. And that's just one of the groups. You've got the same again here on the second oscillator group.
Is it possible to add in a later moment own wave cables, or do you plan something like this?
I don't plan on it. Technically it's capable of it. I'm not sure it would be an enormously popular feature. It's capable of it. I haven't got it at the moment. I think with 4,000 wavetables, in the years I've been using this, I've even used 500 of them. It's just so many. I'd be surprised if anyone runs out of ideas.
Then there was a quite big question of the internet, the filters.
Yeah, right.
They are digital, but they are different solved. It's not software based, or how do you describe them?
They're not software based, they're implemented in the FPGA, they're hardware filters. They're modelled on the classic Moog ladder filter. You've got 2-pole and 4-pole responses here, low pass, band pass and high pass. A voice can have 1 or 2 filters assigned to it in a stereo configuration. So yeah, you can sweep the filters right over the audio range because they're oversampled at 96 kilohertz. You can sweep it right to 20 kilohertz. You can drive the filters into oscillation with high resonance settings. So yeah, very capable filters.
So the people said it's analog, no, it's digital.
It is digital, but it does sound remarkably analog because I spend a lot of time and effort in modelling the filters so they sound authentic.
You demonstrated me already yesterday, the engine is very versatile, so you can change the routing also.
You can. So these controls here, like when you adjust between a wave mode or the hypersaw or the dual filters, that's actually changing the architecture within the FPGA to operate in a different way. So these 10 oscillators you've got here, when you go into wavetable mode, it's reusing those same oscillators to do a different layout, a different operation.
And from the filter it goes back to envelopes and then the LFOs. So what is the capital of the modulation here? Is it has how many envelopes and LFOs?
It's got 3 envelope generators, 3 LFOs. The LFOs have 64 shapes. You can see the shapes here. Whoops. So it's got all the ones you'd expect near the beginning. As you can see here, you can make. There's a lot of different options here. So here's the basic ones. It's got sample and hold as well. And then you've got all these weird and wonderful things that are actually remarkably useful. Now, more interestingly here, you've got a mode here. So when you're in dual mode, the LFOs become stereo, so they can modulate the 2 different sides of the stereo image in a different way, either in quadrature, which is 90 degrees out, or in antiphase, which is completely out of phase. So you can get some wonderful stereo effects from the LFOs using that feature. The EEGs, you've got 3 EEGs, ADSR as you expect. There's also a slope feature here. Traditional LFOs, they all go into the mod mat, so you can apply them wherever you like within the synth.
So you put here more classical envelopes. They are not, I think, like looping or...
No.
It's very classical.
Yeah, they're traditional. It has slope. Other than that, they're traditional ADSR. Yeah. I could change that in the future.
And then the engine goes then to the effects.
Yeah, so there's amplifiers and mixers, obviously, all implemented in the FPGA. Then, each part has got its own 9-module effects section. So you've got a 3-band shelving EQ here. I think there's a question on the forum whether I show the actual units. Well, here they are. Yeah, it does. So you can actually see the EQ settings in hertz and decibels here. You've also got a sweepable mid here that you can sweep right over the entire audio range.
And how many effects you can use in one patch? Is it all together?
All together, yeah, no constraints. You can have all 9 effects active at the same time. So you've got EQ, there's a 4-man filter here for very nice like vocal effects. You've got dual limiters, there's a 5-algorithm distortion module, digital delay, 6-stage phaser, a very flexible chorus module that does, you put it in comb filter mode, flanger, chorus or doubler, which is a very short delay, and as well as your traditional reverb module as well.
And then you said to me yesterday it has 8-part multitimbral.
That's correct, yes.
So you can put 8 patches also together, or you can layer sounds also?
You can layer them. So if you go into them, you can change the MIDI channel of each part. So you can pan it, you can adjust the volume, you select which patch. You can detune the patches apart as well, transpose them, put a key range on them, select, there's some MIDI options here whether you want to receive certain MIDI commands. You can also defeat the effects here. So if you want to use these multiple outputs as effects sends, you can defeat the reverb, for instance. So you don't get a MODI mix. If you want to put your reverb on at the end, you can defeat the effects in here, send them out here dry to outboard.
But you can put each voice out of the
Well, there's 4 outputs. There's 8 parts, 4 outputs. You can assign each part to any of these however you wish. So if you assign 2 to one part, it'll mix them together. So you can freely assign between these 4 parts here.
And I see you have also MIDI input, MIDI output.
Yeah, traditional MIDI.
MIDI through something.
MIDI through. Yeah, no one bothers.
And so you can put also auto MIDI controllers inside and map, or
yeah. So the mod matrix here, you can map. You've got all the MIDI. Well, not all of them, but a good selection of unassigned MIDI controllers here that you can bring into the modulation matrix. There's quite a good selection here of the assigned by MIDI association, as well as unassigned ones that you can assign on your keyboard or your DAW, however you like.
Also something in the newer domain, it has polyphonic aftertouch, or
yes, it supports it. So it comes into the modulation matrix somewhere. Off velocity as well, which you very rarely see. But yeah, polypressure. So if your keyboard or your DAW is capable of it, you can feed it into the mod mass and do whatever modulations you like.
Then you have Multitimbrality. Is it many on the community said it's a Varius, the success of the Varius or the next Varius TI3. What is different now compared to the old Varius 2 and this one? But because it's similar, a bit in the features and in the design.
Well, there is no TI3, so it's hard to make a comparison. But in terms of the TI2, there are common features. But I'd say the architecture is actually quite radically different in terms of the oscillator groups, how they work together, how the effects work. No, there are definitely commonalities. The Varius is the best known of the virtual instruments, and this is a virtual analog instrument. So there's always going to be some parallels. There are.
And if you use 8 parts now, do you lose on polyphony or?
Never lose. You never lose on any, except the dual mode here, where it uses 2 voices per note. You can lay any number of effects, any sort of configuration here, any wavetables, any filter configuration. Never affects the polyphony or the sound quality.
Then you have also a feature that is also in the Varius, USB over audio.
Yes, but the difference here.
USB.
This one's USB 2.0, so user audio, USB audio class 2 compliant. So 8 stereo, 96 kilohertz, 24-bit streams coming over USB 2, ultra low latency, comes with ASIO driver for Windows users. So it's
and in the DAW you will see then only one source, or you have
8
so
sources.
you can change the source.
Absolutely. Yeah. See, the 8 parts come straight into your DAW. You'll see them as 8 channels in your DAW. You can assign them to soft effects, your virtual effects, however you wish. They're all independent. They're not mixed at all within the synthesizer. There is a mixer in here to mix the analog outputs, but for the 8 streams over USB, it's straight out of the synth, no mixing.
So you have also an editor for the Valkyries to simplify everything?
Well, it's not so much simplify, it's to speed up. So here we have the editor. It's an editor librarian. So here you can arrange all your patches, you can drag and drop them. It's very intuitive to use. So just arrange your patch banks like this. You can store them on your disk. But all the parameters in Valkyrie, and there's quite a few of them, are displayed here. So you can edit this. It connects to Valkyrie via USB. Changes you make here instantly previewable on the synthesizer. You can adjust the architecture of the synth, so just like you would on the synth, but here it's actually showing you how all the modules are connected within the synth when you change these configurations. As you can see, some parameters don't apply in certain modes, so the editor reflects that. So when you set a different mode, it makes sure you're seeing the correct parameters. So here are the oscillator groups. You've got the filter groups here that you can adjust. So when you've got 2 filters, and you balance between them, and the amplifiers here.
So do you plan a plugin edition?
There will be a plugin. So this uses the Rolly Juice library, which has built-in ability for VST. I haven't done it yet, so this is a standalone amplifier. You can connect a keyboard to it via USB, so you can play in here at the same time.
Is it comparable with the Varius Total Integration, or do you think it's only an editor?
It's only an editor at this time.
So it doesn't be a plugin where audio comes out?
No, not yet. I will do that, but it doesn't do that. It's an editor librarian at the moment, just to help organising your patches. And obviously I spend a lot of time, and people I'm working with, creating patches. This makes it a lot quicker than actually doing it on the synth. Also, it's integrated with the synth. If you move a control on the synth, these will move in real time, so you can edit on the editor and the synth at the same time, and they'll always stay in sync.
And
is the synth already not available, but it's already finished, developed, or?
It's feature complete. You know, I'm taking feedback from the forums and various people on the physical appearance. Now the colours may change, things may change, but in terms of features, it's complete and it's ready to go.
And you plan it for when? For release in 2018 or?
Yeah, this year, definitely. Yes.
And price estimated?
I can't give a firm price at the moment, but it's going to be well under €2,000. Yeah, let's make that clear. I've seen all sorts of wild prices. Under €2,000.
Under 2,000. And it will. So you take all the normal music stores, or? Yeah.
That's my intention. That's why I'm here today, to speak to the distributors and the wholesalers.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you very much.